My name is Ognan, and I've dedicated the last 4 years of my life to improving my social skills. And during that time, I made some pretty decent progress, and I've even been able to help out a couple guys to get similar results. So if you want one-on-one help from me, you can check out the first link in the description. But in today's video, I'm going to explain how social skills actually is pretty similar to muscles and the gym and working out. What you have to understand is that social skills are pretty similar to muscles. If you want to be good at them, if you want to develop, strength or capability with them, you need to work them. Just like going to the gym to get bigger muscles, you need to go and socialize to become better at social skills. A very important part of this is also consistency. Just like if you go to the gym, once a month, you're not gonna make any progress. If you're speaking to maybe like one person per month, or you're going out maybe like once a month and that's where you're kind of socializing, you're not gonna be seeing very many results and your progress is gonna be going down. Because this is like having social skills, right? As well as maintaining a social life. It's kind of like a fire that you need to be adding wood to, adding fuel to consistently. If you don't call up your friends and if you don't go out with them for a while, they're gonna stop inviting you, and now you don't have a friend group anymore. You don't really have a social life. If you don't speak to anyone for a while, you kind of lose that social IQ and you kind of start becoming a little bit weird. You kind of don't really know how to speak to people. If you stop going to the gym, what happens? Your muscles atrophy, however you say it, your muscles get smaller, you get weaker. And another principle from the gym that also applies to social skills, which is a pretty overpowered one, is progressive overload. I speak to so many guys who tell me that they struggle with even just starting. They have, anxiety when it comes to approaching girls and or approaching anyone, and they're asking me like how do I get to a point where I can approach my crush? How do I get the courage to beat that social anxiety? And I just tell them it's like in the gym. Imagine if you lay down on the bench press, it was your first time going to the gym, and you just put on like 3 plates, like 140 kg, and you tried lifting it up. All you're gonna do is just hurt yourself. So what do? You start with a smaller weight. Start with the empty bar, 20 kg. Once that becomes easy, you move up to 40, 60, 80, 100, and you eventually reach 140. Same thing with social skills. Right now, you're trying to like walk up to your crush, or maybe it's walk up to a group of people and make friends and speak to everyone and be super social and charismatic and funny and confident. That's like up here. That's like level 10. Right now, you're level 1. What is something that you at this level have the courage and the skills to do? For you, this will probably just be right now walking up to a stranger on the street and saying hello. Speaking to a cashier, when you're buying something at the grocery store and just asking, how's your day going? Walking up to some old person at the bus station and saying like, hey, excuse me, what time is it? My phone died. Or what bus are you waiting for? Just having the smallest interaction with a stranger. That is level 1. That is as easy as it gets. That is your current level. And even this is going to give you a little bit of anxiety, but it's going to be just easy enough, just like the 20 kg bar isn't going to be easy, but it's going to be doable. This also isn't going to be easy, it's not going to be comfortable, it's going to be doable, but it's going to be doable. So you do this a bunch of times, and eventually it becomes easy. Just like the bar becomes easy, you get stronger. Just walking up and saying hello becomes pretty easy. So now you level up. Okay, what is the next level? Now maybe you walk up, you say hello, how's your day going? And you continue the conversation a bit. Maybe now when you walk up to the person, you don't just say hello, you say how's your day going, and then maybe you add some comment or compliment, and then you walk away. You have like a 2-minute small talk conversation. You do that a bunch of times, that's like level 2. You do that a bunch of times, now it gets easier. Okay, now maybe you start doing it to not just anyone, you start doing it mostly to girls. They don't have to be the most attractive, but kind of, cute girls. So now you do that until that becomes easy. That's level 3. So now level 4 is you start doing that, but you have longer conversations. You get their Instagram, get their number. Level 5, now you're walking up to like super attractive girls. You're having long conversations. You're going on dates with them. You're getting their Instagrams, everything. And eventually you get up to level 10, where it's like now you see your crush at school, and let's say she's surrounded by other girls and everything, and you've just leveled up to this point. You've gotten like, progressively overloaded to this point where now you can just walk up to her and be like, hey, I thought you were really cute. I had a crush on you for a little while. what do you say we go out on a date? You develop that confidence through, and that kind of, just like you develop strength in the gym, you develop that confidence, that social confidence and those social skills by just putting in the work, getting as many reps as possible. And here's like a life hack, like a bonus tip, which is the best part about social skills in my opinion. And this is what makes it even like better and more overpowered than the gym. With the gym, you need rest, you need diet. You finish the workout, you're not gonna get more progress if you do 2 workouts in a day. You do 1 workout and now you gotta wait to rest and recover and eat and all of this stuff, and it takes such a long time. With social skills, you do not need rest, nutrition, diet. There is nothing stopping you. And now listen, this is super overpowered. There is nothing stopping you from going out and getting like 100, 200, 300 approaches today, and literally in the span of 1 or 2 days, completely deleting any social anxiety that you might have had. Like going from a socially anxious person to a fully confident guy in the span of a single weekend. By just doing what I call a kamikaze, going fucking kamikaze into town and just approaching every single person or girl that you see and just having a bit of a conversation. You do this like 200-300 times. In the span of like 1 or 2 days, you have become a fucking social butterfly. It can be done as quickly as this. That is like the overpowered thing about social skills, and really is that simple. Speak to as many people as you can and just progressively overload. If you don't have the courage to speak to the hot girl, speak to some less hot girl. If you don't have the courage, or you're too anxious to have a long conversation, have a short conversation with someone. If you don't have the courage to give a compliment, just walk up and say hello. Progressively overload, put in as many reps. That is the secret to becoming socially confident. If you never saw another video on YouTube on social skills, and this was like the last video on social skills that you ever watched, you would still get the results. Like, this is basically the last video you would ever need to watch on social skills, because this is the essence, the secret. All of the things like deeper voice and mannerisms and body language, those things can help, but at its essence, if you lack the reps and if you lack the experience of just speaking to people, these things are going to be pointless, because you're still going to be kind of weird and anxious and uncomfortable when speaking to people. You do this, you take action, and this is how you get results. This is something is exactly like the thing that I walk guys through, that I make them like an exact plan of how to do this exactly, and I make them specific levels that are appropriate for their situation and for their life. Like, I make them a full roadmap when we hop on the one-on-one call, which I spoke about, that you can find by clicking on the link in the description. That's where you'll also find my community with other young guys who are improving their social skills, who you can also meet with and speak to and learn from. If you found this video helpful, I think you'll find a lot of value in this video right here. Click on the subscribe button and do the work.